Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Dithmini De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Domestic gas cylinder prices reduced from midnight today. Extraordinary Gazette notification issued regarding further measures to implement the domestic debt optimization. ADB appoints new country director for Sri Lanka. Chinese Airlines Air China reinstates flights to and from Sri Lanka.
Taking a look at the top story, Litrogas has reduced prices of domestic gas cylinders from midnight on Tuesday. Speaking during a media briefing, Chairman of Litrogas, Muditha Piris, said the price of a 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder was reduced by 204 rupees. The new price is 2,982 rupees. The price of a 5 kilogram gas cylinder was reduced by 83 rupees and the new price is 1,198 rupees. The price of a 2.3 kilogram gas cylinder was reduced by 37. .3 kilogram gas cylinder is 561 rupees. In more local news, an extraordinary gazette notification has been issued by President Ranil Wickremesinghe regarding further measures to implement the domestic debt optimization.
The Gazette authorizes the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies and the Registrar of Public Debt to offer any holder of any stock or securities issued in Sri Lanka under the provisions of the ordinance or any other enactment the option of converting or exchanging, as the case may be, the holding as at 28th of June 2023 or part thereof. It also authorizes the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance and the Registrar of Public Debt to specify the manner in which payment of interest is made and the conditions subject to which such treasury bonds may be converted or exchanged, as the case may be.
In other local news, another group of Samruddhi beneficiaries whose names were not included in the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Scheme launched a protest at the Kulanawa Junction on Tuesday. The group said while several people who are not suitable were included for the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Scheme, the Samruddhi benefit was slashed for several poverty-stricken people. Let's now cross over for the toss of the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers.
අයිබෝවන් සුබ මධ්‍යහනක් ලෝක කුසලාන ක්‍රිකට් තරඟාවලිය සඳහා සුදුසුකම් ලබා ගැනීමේ තරඟ මාලාවේ සත්කාරක සිම්බාබ්වේ කණ්ඩායම සහ ස්කොට්ලන්තය අතර තීරණාත්මක තරඟය ආරම්භ කිරීමට මේ වන විට සියලු කටයුතු සූදානම්. ඔබ දන්නවා ශ්‍රී ලංකාව මේ වන විට ලෝක කුසලාන ක්‍රිකට් තරඟාවලිය සඳහා සුදුසුකම් ලබාගෙන තිබෙන්නේ. මේ ඔබ දකින්නේ සහභාගී වූ තරඟ හතරෙන් තරඟ හතරම ජයග්‍රහණය කරමින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා කණ්ඩායමට හැකියාව ලැබුණා සුදුසුකම් ලබා ගන්නට. සිම්බාබ්වේ කණ්ඩායමට සහභාගී වූ තරඟ හතරෙන් තරඟ තුනක් පමණයි ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්නට හැකියාව ලැබුණේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සමග පැවති තරඟය ඔවුන් පරාජයට පත් වුණා. යනුව මේ තරඟය අතිශය තීරණාත්මකයි. සිම්බාබ්වේ කණ්ඩායම මෙම තරඟය ජයග්‍රහණය කළහොත් ඔවුන්ට හැකියාව ලැබෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සමග ලෝක කුසලානම් ක්‍රිකට් තරඟාවලිය සඳහා සුදුසුකම් ලබා ගන්නට. අපට හැකියාව තිබෙනවා ස්කොට්ලන්තය සමග පැවතුන තරඟේ කාසී වාසිය රුගා බලන අවස්ථාව වෙත දැන් අවධානය යොමු කරන්න.
Welcome to the middle. We're all ready for the toss. I've got Chide Radvala, the match referee, Richie Berrington, the Scotland captain, and Craig Irvin, the Zimbabwe captain. Craig, you've got the coin?
Nails is the key. It's a head.
Craig, you've won the toss. What are you going to do?
I think we're going to have a bowl first today.
Is that on the basis of what happened on Sunday with that early movement that the Sri Lanka bowlers found?
Oh, look, I think it's generally been what we've seen in the first sort of 10 overs, bowling first. I think a lot of sides have utilised those first 10 overs and hopefully we can do that today.
It's a must-win game for you. Does that bring tension or does it bring clarity?
Yeah, you know, you think we came into this tournament wanting to win every game, so I don't think it changes anything today.
And you've put the Sri Lanka game to bed?
Yeah, certainly. You know, we have to put that behind us and obviously look forward today. It was a slightly disappointing performance, but nonetheless, we've got another chance today, and hopefully we can put that right.
What's your team news today, please?
2 changes today. Luke Jongwe and Brad Evans sit out for Tendai Chitara and Innocent Kaya.
Thanks very much indeed, Craig, and good luck for today. Richie, I'm guessing if you'd won the toss, you'd have done the same thing.
Yeah, I think we'd have looked to have a ball first, but look, it looks a really good surface here again. Obviously a used wicket. So I think, yeah, obviously we can hopefully post a good score on the board. Deke will be getting through that first hour or so with a new ball. But we've seen, yeah, if you can get through that and get a good partnership going, there's also a few runs to be scored.
2 games from possibly getting to the World Cup. How does that make you feel? Excited, nervous?
Yeah, obviously very excited. We've played really good cricket up to this point, and we knew at some point it was going to come down to a must-win game. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to what should be a great game today.
What's your team news today, Richie?
Same team today.
OK, all the best and go well. So the news out here in the middle is that Zimbabwe have won the toss and they've decided to bowl.
Absolutely no surprises there. Good morning to Dirk Nannis as well as Ed Rainsford. Ed, you're jumping up and down here, winning the toss. How important is it, actually?
Yeah.
I want you to try and put that into perspective.
I think it's a massive toss to win. It sort of settled down the side. It'll also go with what Zimbabwe would have wanted to do. Get the ball in hand, nip out a few wickets early, allow that surface to settle down. But again, you've still got to do the work. So one small box tick there for Zimbabwe, but very important. It's what they wanted to do, and they've got their way.
Dirk, speak about the pressure of today on both sides. One trying to ensure qualification and the other trying to kind of stay alive and then kind of make a play in the game to come.
I think it's the state of these tournaments all the time. It's so cutthroat. You've got Scotland here who have to win the next 2 games, must win the next 2 games. And Zimbabwe now, well, they've boxed themselves in a corner. They must win today. They need to win well. I've never had a coin toss where the crowd have cheered so much. It's something pretty special.
Yeah. So, okay, on to the teams. A look at the Scottish side, who stayed the same, Dirk, and have found something, isn't it, in the way that they've played through this tournament?
It's the way they've shared the load throughout the tournament. Leading wicket takers only take 12 wickets. No one in the top 10 run scorers for the tournament. McMullen had a fantastic game, previous game, both with ball and bat, and I really like the options that they've got with the ball, and they haven't had to make any changes.
A look at the Zimbabwe side and a couple of changes. Let us in on why you feel they'd have made those changes today, Ed.
I think after Sri Lanka there was a bit of concern about runs at the top of the innings and also at the back end. But my confusion there is that Luke Jongwe being left out of the side after getting 40 off 28 is then left out of the side, and Wesley Madevere keeps his position in the side, and then Innocent Kaya comes in at number 3. Now Innocent doesn't get off at a rollicking start. He's someone that sort of keeps things together for a long period of time to allow that middle order to settle in and get into their work. But they're bowling first today. And so where does he bat? Does he stun the run chase to some degree? So there's a couple of interesting changes there. Losing the all-rounder with the ball in hand and then bringing in a specialist batter who seems to like he's going to bat in number 3, but has opened for Zimbabwe in every single game.
Okay, well, it will all unfold as we go along. It's a day for things to all get unfurled. Let's get to the middle and find out what conditions are like today. Hello, Ross.
The conditions are really good, but it's very tense. The reason for that is Zimbabwe need a win to seal the deal. Scotland need a win to stay alive. It's warmed up a lot earlier today, but we are only expecting a high of 21 degrees. The wind, it's calm, and it will be pleasant out here. Now, if you're batting at that end, your square boundaries are 66 meters for a right-hander's offside and 60 meters on the leg side. The straight hit down the ground, 81 meters. The pitch, though, it's interesting. We've played on all the strips before, games coming thick and fast. A lot of grass at that end. It's a good covering, so the ball should come onto the bat a little easier. But what really interests me is at this end, there's a bit of wear and tear on a good length in line with the stumps. It's uneven, the cracks are there. This is the wear and tear I'm talking about. And there's a bit of grass over there. Very difficult for the batter to judge how it's going to play. Hits the grass, hits here, it has to react differently. Variable pace, variable bounce. So that's the challenge the batters will have. First 10 overs, little bit of swing, get through that, get yourself 240, 250, and I think this pitch will wear down further and it will dry up further. So I think it's a blessing in disguise for Scotland losing that toss. They'll be up against Blessing in a little while with the new ball, but for now, here's Blessing Muzarabbani with his story.
Welcome back to the news. Chinese Airlines Air China reinstates flights to and from Sri Lanka. The first flight landed at the Katunayake airport last evening.
This Chinese airline temporarily paused flights to Sri Lanka due to the COVID-19 situation. The Air China flight CCA 425 headed to Sri Lanka landed in Katunayake last evening. Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kee Zen-hong, regional manager of the Asia-Pacific region of Air China, participated for this event. The Air China flight that returned was an A320 Airbus. Our correspondent said that 142 passengers along with 9 crew members were on board the flight. Direct flights are now available from the state of Sichuan, China to Colombo following the COVID-19 pandemic. Direct flights from Air China Airlines will be available from Chengdu to Colombo twice a week. It is a great honor for us, Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited, as the chief airline operator for Sri Lanka, to have Air China Airlines back in our motherland. We hope that this initiative will strengthen the economy of Sri Lanka, the tourism industry and the social and economic bond between China and Sri Lanka as well. Air China Airlines flights will operate to Sri Lanka thrice a week on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, beginning today.
These were the views expressed at the UNP Ahalegoda Bala Asana Mandala meeting.
It has been predicted that the interest rates for the loans obtained can be brought between 9% and 12% in October. The plan to reinitiate economic growth has already begun. We will unite everyone. What is next is an alliance. A presidential election will come. When it does, all these forces must come together. I have always said that the people of this country are not ready to have Ranil Wickremesinghe's support for the country. But what are people saying? They are saying that Ranil cannot do anything. But how about now? The Rajapakshas are the ones who destroyed 70% of the country. It is true that we have their support, but we have to say what needs to be said. 12 countries requested funds from the IMF, but not even Pakistan received it. But they understood that Sri Lanka is a country that is attempting to get back on its feet. Some questioned whether the country that received $3 billion from India could rise up again from the $2.9 billion given by the IMF. This is the stance of the Communist Party of Sri Lanka regarding the present economy. Wealth does not remain in states and countries. It is sent to other countries as black money. That is what is given back to us as loans. Now there are international loan sharks. We are bankrupt because Ranil and Mahinda took loans from them. Even the act that was passed recently didn't burden the capitalists. We won the EPF after a 3-month struggle. What power does the government led by Ranil have to cut it? This government made the 2 reasons which led to the crisis the solution as well. These views were expressed at a program held in Maharagama on Monday to mark the 80th anniversary of the Communist Party of Sri Lanka. The alternative development program formulated by the Communist Party of Sri Lanka was also launched at the event. Meanwhile, the Federation of Media Employees Trade Unions has issued a statement affirming that Tharindu Uduvaragedara was summoned to the Criminal Investigations Department as a means of suppressing media. They added that this is the 3rd instance that he has been called to the Criminal Investigations Department in the past few months. They say that this summoning takes place in the backdrop of where the government is proposing several repressive bills such as the Media Broadcasting Regulatory Act and the Social Media Regulatory Act, etc. Therefore, the Federation of Media Employees Trade Unions says that they believe this summoning was an act against the fundamental right to freedom of speech.
In other local news, the LOLC Divisavya program, launched to lend a helping hand to students of Sri Lanka, took place in the Udugum educational zone of the Galle district.
School books and other stationery items were distributed among students under the LOLC Divisavya program. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. School books and other stationery items were distributed this morning to the students of the Gonalagoda Vijayabahu Primary Vidyalaya, St. Anna Primary Vidyalaya, Barukandeni Primary Vidyalaya, Minuwandeni Primary Vidyalaya, Kaluwalagala Primary Vidyalaya and the Batogala Primary Vidyalaya. Students from several other schools were also provided with school books and other stationery items at the Galle Regional Education Office. The LOLC Divisavya program will press on in their endeavour to support the education of these children.
That's a wrap of the lunchtime news. Join us again at 9 p.m. for primetime news on TV1.